Hey nerds, welcome back to the All Things Nerd podcast. We are your hosts. I am Jake.
And I'm Chad.
This week we are sponsored by Cry Baby Craig's Hot Sauce.
And we are also sponsored by Raise Energy Drinks.
We're going to talk about Marvel's Moon Knight, which is now streaming on Disney Plus.
Moonanite.
Moon Knight.
Just how you said it, you heard every syllable. And silent letter.
It's called
Uh,
pronunciation, bitch. Try
pr-
it.
Pronunciation, yes, you're right.
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation, yes. Um, we're also going to be talking about the, the second episode of Halo on Paramount Plus.
It's hello.
Get fucked. But yes, so we're going to talk about the second episode of Halo as well. So let's get right into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast. Nerd.
Welcome back, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Chad, how's your week been, my dude?
Uh, I mean, minus the super shitty second winter that we got here in Minnesota. Uh, it's been pretty good.
Hmm,
Not to brag. I do have a date this week.
dope, dope.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see if it happens. Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
What about you? Before we talk about a couple things podcast related.
Well, me and the girlfriend closed on our house, so that's exciting.
Super
Which
excited
is
for you.
which is closer to you, so we can start doing some of these episodes in person, which will be nice.
Will be. I'm excited for it. And the house just looks amazing. I'm super excited for you guys.
Thanks, dude.
Also, this past week. Oh, that sounded super sincere, Jake.
It
Uh,
was insane.
I know it was. I know it was.
God.
But also this week, a certain movie came out. We have not seen it yet because initial reviews and what we predicted kind of line up as the dumpster fire that is Morbius.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
Slash Sony.
Yeah, Sony's not doing good things.
Tomato, tomato. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably eventually talk about it, and by talk about it, I mean probably shit on it.
We're gonna shit all over it.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
everything that we've heard so far is true. We didn't go. This is like one of the first Marvel movies, Marvel tied movies since Iron Man that I haven't seen opening weekend.
Yeah.
The other one of the other ones was Venom 2. So like at least I'm on track for like
And we saw that together and it was
yeah, it
fucking
was garbage. We
terrible.
saw it like a week after it came out, a week
Yeah.
and a half
And this
after it came
is
out.
like the
This
same
is supposed to be
studio, the
worse.
same yeah, it's
I've seen people saying that the original Suicide Squad was 1,000 times better, and that was not good. I've also seen people saying that the Fantastic Four reboot that was terrible was better than this film.
oh my god. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
So we'll eventually talk about this movie. We probably won't devote a segment to this film unless
Well,
it's that bad and
yeah, it
has
could be
that
like a
many
funny like we're
missed
just gonna
opportunities.
oh
Maybe, but
yeah.
with the two things that we're talking about this week, if we go and see this movie in the next like 2 to 3 weeks, like it's not gonna be, it's not gonna be a full segment. Um, Also, though, what's really cool is our producer Alan had a table set up out at Mocha Fest in New York, um, selling some zines and stuff like that. Jerry Ma stopped by and like hung out and also like split the booth. Um, and with that being said, like thank you. Oh, I said with that being said, fuck me. But thank you to everyone that stopped by, grabbed
Yeah.
some swag, both from us, our producer
Yeah.
Alan, and Jerry.
Also,
And
thank you, Alan and Jerry, for promoting us out in New York. That's
yeah,
awesome of you
yeah.
guys.
Well, you guys were also like promoting your own stuff. It's super awesome. And welcome new followers.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hi.
Hey, what up?
Um,
Um, in a little bit more solemn news, uh, Jake, what's some news going on with our beloved Die Hard
it's
actor?
very unfortunate, but Bruce Willis is stepping away from acting due to aphasia,
Yeah,
um, which is a condition.
yeah,
Um, it's like a brain damage that messes with speech and memory.
yeah,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We love you, dude.
yeah. Put out some of the most iconic action films.
Yeah.
Also, like some nerdy films
Hmm.
like Unbreakable and Glass.
Yeah.
Man, uh,
Sixth Sense. I mean, dude was
oh,
all
and
over the
Sixth Sense.
board, man. Yeah.
So good.
You didn't see Sixth Sense, you pussy.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Eat
What
shit.
happens in the end?
Turns spoiler alert. If you guys are like less than 12 years old, also if you're less than 12 years old, talk to your parents because you should not be listening. He was dead the whole time.
What?
Oh my god.
No, we love you, Bruce.
Yeah.
Man, I'll be watching all of your movies.
Yeah.
You're the tits.
It really is in the world of movies, like him stepping away is it's a big deal because
Yeah.
he's made some iconic films and been
Yeah.
in, not to use the word icon again, he's been an icon. He
Yeah.
really has.
I mean, Pulp Fiction, bro. Pulp Fiction. You've seen Pulp Fiction.
He's in Pulp Fiction.
Are you fucking serious?
It's been
How are
so,
you on this
it's
podcast with
been
me?
wow. Okay. It's been so long since I've seen Pulp Fiction. I can't remember Bruce Willis being in Pulp Fiction. I just think of John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson.
Oy, oy, oy.
I'm gonna punch you in the dick after
I'm gonna
this.
punch you in the dick. How do you not know that Bruce Willis is in Pulp Fiction?
Fuck me, right? All right, guys. So since that dumpster fire just happened, and somehow it's not the worst dumpster fire that happened this past weekend, thank you, Morbius.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just like jump right into our first sponsor so we can start talking about the actual meat of, well, meat alternative because, you know, we're vegans. Let's just talk about our main sponsor this week, which is Ray's Energy Drinks. Fantastic energy drinks. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 crash. So much more than just energy drinks as well, if that's not your thing. They've got pre-workout, protein-packed desserts,
Pancakes.
pancakes, cake in a cup. Just delicious. And a great alternative to everything that's on the market right now. So go ahead and listen up. We'll be right back with you to talk about Halo. But in the meantime, learn how you can save 15% on your order. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Ray's Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Ray's Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful yet sustained energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, and powered by their refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you. All right, everybody. So this week we are going to talk a little bit about episode 2 of Halo on Paramount Plus. Before we get into that, just me saying Paramount Plus makes me feel weird, because when that became a streaming option, I was like, I'm never gonna get that. Like, what's the point? I have everything else. And they're like, yeah, Halo. And I was like, sign me up. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Anyways.
A little bit of a slower episode this week.
Yeah. It definitely is.
Still good, but just a little slower.
Yeah, there's really not any action in this one. There's some flashbacks here and there, but it doesn't do much for building up this as an action show.
There's a lot of context that is important to like going forward, but yeah, not a ton of action.
Yeah, exactly. It focuses a lot on like the political landscape of the UNSC and how it affected like the young Spartans as well. So we do get some flashbacks there where we see like Master Chief. We don't
John.
Yeah, John. We don't know his actual last name. We see John and like his best friend Soren. We don't know last names, but we see them as younglings, if you will.
And you got to give credit to whoever casted, because they actually look like the adult versions of themselves. It's pretty wild.
The young version makes sense to what the adult versions in the actual show look like. It's incredible. It really is. For both of the young actors that we see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. So basically we get to see that Soren, who is in the Spartan program, he goes AWOL. He abandons his post, runs away, and John was supposed to go with him.
As I say, more importantly, we do see that John also shared that belief at some point, because they were going to leave together. They had obviously conversed about it and were like, let's get the fuck out of here together. But when John shows up, he is re-brainwashed maybe into not.
I think that, and we kind of learn why, because in their armor packs, there's, what do they just call it, like they call it like a pill or a pack. It's not the pill that we all know about, but there's some sort of like supplement that they give the Spartans that's supposed to basically minimize their free will, make them more susceptible to accepting orders and everything like that. And John continues to take his. Soren does not. And that's why Soren is like so hell-bent on leaving, to the point where he does, and John has a moment of clarity where he has a gun to Soren's face and is like,
can't let you leave.
He says that he can't let him leave, but then he also is, instead of taking him down, he says, it appears that my weapon is not functioning at this time. And he tells Soren, he's like, you have 5 minutes until I alert the base that you've abandoned.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of the end of the flashback. We get to see more of now Master Chief, but still John.
Yeah.
With Quan Ha. They're in the Halo Realms version of light speed, hyperspace. They call it slip space.
Mm-hmm.
They all look the same. When all is said and done, this one just has a little bit more purple. For as slow of an episode as this is, it's really great.
Well, and they go to, at the end of the first episode, obviously, John and Quan Ha take off, and we're like, where the fuck are they going? So we see now in this episode that they go to Soren. Is it Soren? Soren? Not Sorensen, right?
Just Soren, yeah.
They go to see Soren, and yeah, there's a couple funny parts here. I don't know. I thought it was funny. There's like he's obviously in his Spartan suit, and everybody is like, yo, Spartan, like, got their guns drawn on him, and a guy, like, pulls a forklift in front of him with, like, a big metal thing on it, and he literally just, like, shoves the forklift and the thing out of the way with one hand, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. The guy clearly wasn't forklift certified.
Yeah. I mean, but in the scene, he at least applied the brake, because as Master Chief pushes it out of the way, the tires don't roll, it just slides. Along the lines of funny, though, like Soren's character, who is now no longer under any sort of UNSC, I don't want to say mind control, but programming. Is just
brainwashing, maybe.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Making quips here and there.
Yeah.
Like, tells Master Chief when they get to, like, his living space, he's like, yeah, you got to leave your armor here. I just redid the floors. Just shit like that. And it's just funny from start to finish. Not, like, hysterical, but, you know, it's just jokes here.
John also touches the artifact again. We get a little more of a vision again.
Yeah.
Back to his childhood.
Yeah, and it's because while they're visiting Soren, Soren knows someone that's like in this. It's not quite a refugee camp. It's more like a demilitarized zone where it's just like a congregation of people that are escaping the UNSC. No government, no laws, but everyone just kind of like coexists. And they go to see someone that was a prisoner from the Covenant and survived. So they go to like talk to him about this artifact that we see in the first episode about what's going on. And this dude is clearly just like out of his mind because from torture and just being a captive. And eventually John touches the artifact again, and we get another like explosive view as to like how powerful the artifact is. But then we do see more like flashbacks and everything. It's insane.
But this is something that you kind of mentioned to me that they kind of, spoiler alert, by the way, for this. And
I didn't write down a spoiler alert for this one. My bad.
No, I did for Moon Knight. I did for this one, but you know, the Spartans are clones, which I didn't know. You told me about this.
Well, the Spartans aren't clones; they're kidnapped kids
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're kidnapped kids, and then their clones get left behind with the family.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after John has his memory or whatever, the guy that they went to see, the crazy guy, is like, "You don't even know what you are," like, and starts freaking out. And he's like, "Tell me what I am." Like, so
Yeah.
I got that because you told me about it. But for people who watch this show that maybe don't know that, it's because that he has been cloned, and it
Yeah.
was cool. Yeah.
And they reference, we didn't talk about it last week, but there is another character where it's a human, but she is on the side of the Covenant, and they call her the Blessed One.
Oh yeah.
We don't know anything about her at this point in time. Literally nothing, except for that she's human, but she's with the Covenant. My first impression is that she's Daenerys from Game of
Yeah,
Thrones. Just
she's a bitch.
she's not going to be a great character.
Yeah.
Probably portrayed really well.
Willie,
Yeah,
Willie Rel.
Willie Farrell. Uh, like she's probably going to play the character really well, but it's going to be a character that you don't like.
Yeah.
And I'm for it, but the Blessed Ones can touch the artifact and bring it to life.
Yeah. Oh.
So Master Chief is kind of a blessed one in this point in time, I guess. Oh, what?
Your chair made like a weird noise, and then you went, So it sounded like you farted, and then went, right after.
That's funny.
Anyways, gross.
Oh, fuck off. We also learn.
John.
You go.
Go ahead. What? You go.
I was gonna say we also learn a little bit more about kind of like the treatments and programming that the Spartans underwent. Because Soren keeps referencing them, and Master Chief always like puts a positive interpretation on them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the Spartans have undergone treatments to enhance battle focus and stuff like this, and Soren's like, no, it's to make you compliant and make you controllable, and it makes you not feel anything.
Yeah.
It's rough. And we start to see kind of Master Chief start to develop into the person that questions everything, like the Master Chief that we actually know from the Halo games, which is pretty great. Yeah. Not to cut you off, what were you
No, you're fine. Well, I was going to try to wrap it up, so I'm glad you brought that up before I did. I was going to say, end of the episode, he leaves Quan with Soren, and he heads back to Halsey.
Yeah. And when he gets back to her, like, she's questioning him, and he lies to her straight up. He's like, I came back because you're the only person I can trust.
Yeah.
And we learn throughout this episode that that's not the case.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends with us getting a glimpse at Cortana. For those of you that know, that's the AI system that Master Chief uses to kind of guide him throughout the games. And we get a glimpse at it, which is really cool. We don't actually like hear her voice or anything like that. We just kind of see the starting process of it.
What's the cool part about her, Chad?
The super cool thing about this is that the actress that is portraying Cortana in the show is the same actress that did the voice of Cortana. So in the game, yeah, we actually get Cortana, which is fucking awesome.
Say Cortana one more time.
Cortana. All right. Now that I've said Cortana enough Cortana times, let's talk about our second sponsor before we talk about Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Cortana.
Sponsor number 2 is Cortana. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
The super shitty Windows version of Siri that we never asked for or needed.
Sponsor number 2 is Crybaby Craig's hot sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up, we'll tell you more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today.
All right, guys, we are going to talk about Moon Knight, now streaming on Disney Plus. And before we do, you may notice that we are in different clothes. We were having some technical difficulties last night when we got to the point, this point in the episode, unfortunately. So we had to take a break and start again today. Anyways, also, spoiler alert. Before we get into this, you got about 3, 2, 1, you're fucked.
We actually got it right this time instead of like halfway through and like, wow, we ruined this for fucking everyone. Cool.
Spoiler alert. Check out now. If you haven't watched it, check back in after you have watched it. Please, we need friends.
Yeah, please come back.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
This show is
fucking good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so good. What?
So right off the bat, we get to meet Stephen Grant. He's one of the alternates of the Mark Spector personality catalog, for those of you that are familiar with the comics. Basically, he suffers from dissociative identity disorder, or in layman's terms, and
He's
no
crazy.
longer accurate, mentally ill with multiple personalities. Now, before we actually get into the episode, there are 2 things that I've seen a lot of people bitch about online.
Oh, yeah.
And it drives me nuts, knowing that he has multiple personalities and that Stephen Grant is just one of them, but he's not the host personality. He's not the main one. Yeah. The first one is, I literally saw online a British person talking shit about Stephen Grant's British accent. Talking about how a lot of like the slang that he uses doesn't make sense for the accent that he has. And I was like, well, yeah, because he's not British. He's not actually a British dude. Like, come on. Like, he speaks as if it was an American person being like, oi, I think I can talk like British. Okay, governor? In it? Laters gators? Like,
Laters gators? That's my favorite part.
It's a great line, and it's hilarious. And yeah, the slang doesn't match up with the accent because he's not actually British. He didn't grow up talking with that accent. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
The second qualm that I have with critics, not with the show, because I think that it makes sense in the
show.
In the show. Because, one, like I just said, he's not actually British. It's just one of his personalities thinks he is. The second one is throughout the episode when, like, action is happening around him and Stephen Grant's personality disappears, because this entire episode is based on Stephen Grant's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
He like blacks out, and it's done really cool. Like skip frames, like the sound is like
yeah,
and then
you don't see it happen, but you see the carnage that is left after.
Yeah, when Stephen Grant comes to or comes back into control of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Like all this shit is happening.
The idiot, if you will.
Yeah. Which they refer to him as. And people were like, oh, this is dumb. Like, why aren't we seeing the action? I was like, because this episode is from Stephen Grant's perspective.
Yeah.
The reason that we're not seeing the action is because he's not the one fighting.
Yeah.
So when he blacks out, it's just meh.
Yeah.
So it's
I thought
supposed to
it
feel
was really
awkward.
good. I thought it was done really well. I think people are just really dumb.
They're just nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking, and
Yeah.
it's man,
I
do
think
better.
people wanted like a Deadpool type, you know,
Oh yeah,
thing to happen because like in the comics, like that's kind of how Moon Knight is he's like very like cocky and like blah blah blah, you know. So I think
because
people
it's
were like
from a lot
thinking,
of it's from Mark Spector's perspective.
yeah. So I think a lot of people were like, well, this is fucking lame. He's like this like jittery little guy,
Yeah.
and it's like just
Also,
give it,
on paper, like showing the multiple personalities feels a lot like breaking the fourth wall.
yeah. And it's like just give it some time, you twat. You
Yeah,
know, it'll get better.
you twat. All right, late as gate is.
Leia's gate is. But yeah, I was fucking blown away by it. I
I
loved
loved it.
it. Even even in the I don't think it was boring at all in my opinion, but even in
No.
the slower parts of it, I was like, that's funny. You
Yeah.
know, like, it was good. It was really good. And
What
then
the fish?
yeah, um, well, let's get into the episode a little bit rather than just bitching about dumb people. Um,
Okay, fine.
one of the first things that we see is that Stephen Grant has stolen a gold scarab uh from Ethan Hawke's character,
Yeah.
and he's kind of on the run pretty early on in the episode.
Yeah, within probably like the first like 10, 15 minutes. And what's
Yeah,
awesome is that the first episode also is like 45 minutes long.
yeah.
So it's a good length to start.
There's only 6 episodes though. That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
And Oscar Isaac's contract does not extend past episode 6 with Marvel.
I'm sure it will.
I know it. I know. I'm just saying, like, don't be a bitch, you know?
Yeah. Give it back.
He told you, he told me to suck your dick more
In
in
front of
front
our
of
whole
you.
family. Yeah, but if he didn't, we wouldn't be talking about it, so. uh, today's Tom Soy. Sorry. Way off topic.
Stole the scarab. Uh, and then as he's on the run, as Stephen Grant is on the run from the scarab people, we get to see Ethan Hawke's character for the second time because it technically opens on Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, stuffing
But
Legos into his handles.
yeah, yeah. And then we get to see him now. Steven Oscar Isaac is standing in a crowd of like sheep, and they're they're basically watching
What?
what?
No.
And they're basically watching Ethan Hawke's character balance out whether you're a good person or you're a bad person. If you're a good person, he's like, "Oh my God, you're good. You get to live." And then he's got a tattoo of a scale on his forearm, and it
It's
like,
kind of like magical.
yeah. And if you're good, you're good. Like, oh my God, this is a good person. And then directly after that, you get to see somebody who didn't fare so well. And she's like, I'm a good person. And he's like, well, maybe you're not always going to be a good person. And it saw something in your future. And he kills her. So
Yeah.
uh, there's that.
Yeah, it's not great. He basically like I mean, sucks like the life out of her. Like
Yeah.
turns her like into a mummy basically. And
Mm.
then her corpse just like drops and But so
boy.
we get introduced very early that Ethan Hawke's character is nefarious at best. And even later in the episode, we see Ethan Hawke's character, because he approaches Stephen Grant to try and get the scarab back, but Khonshu, which is the Egyptian god that basically powers the Moon Knight persona, resisting to give the scarab back.
Oh yeah,
to
the part
Ethan
was pretty
Hawke,
funny.
even though
He's like, "Give me the scarab," and he's like, "You can have it."
Here's some information.
Cool. Thanks, Siri.
Well, what information did she have? I want to know.
I already closed it out, but it was.
Was it your search history?
No, but it was something about Stephen Grant. It said Stephen Grant on the top of the screen. But yeah, the scene where Stephen Grant is trying to give the scarab back to Ethan Hawke's character. Does Ethan Hawke's character have a name yet?
You keep talking, and I got it right here.
Okay. I don't know if they say it in this episode or not. I know that he channels the Egyptian goddess Amet, but I don't know if they actually give him a name yet.
Got it. I got it. Keep talking.
But so Stephen Grant's trying to hand him the scarab, but Khonshu keeps closing Stephen Grant's hands, making him spin around, forces him to walk away. That's where we get another blackout, and Stephen Grant comes to. There's bodies all around him. He's like, "What's going on?" And the scarab's in his hand, and it's just covered in blood. Has no idea what's going on. Steals a cupcake truck, and then we get a really awesome chase.
Which makes sense because I kept seeing the poster on the online poster was a cupcake, and it said Moon Knight, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But then
I didn't see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. His name is. Oh god, I just had it. Hold on.
Oh.
His name. Oh, it's Arthur Harrow.
Okay. We'll see. I know that he's supposed to be technically an original character, but he draws inspiration from a couple other characters. We'll see how much they actually draw from comic personalities that Moon Knight has faced. But yeah. It's pretty good. We also get to see glimpses throughout the episode of Khonshu, the Egyptian god, basically following Stephen Grant around, and those scenes they're actually kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
Talk about the scene from his apartment.
I was reading about Arthur Harrow. So I'm a little lost here, but yeah. I guess we got to talk about before we get there. We got to talk about when Oscar Isaac character
Stephen
Grant, Jesus Christ, starts to put shit together a little bit. His fish, that we see in the beginning of the episode only has one fin, and then he's sitting in his apartment and his fish has two fins, and he's like, well, what the fuck? Also, he ends up finding a cell phone and a key in his apartment, and that's when he starts freaking out because he sees Mark in the mirror, and Mark is like, hey dude, chill the fuck out, and he's like, and freaks out and runs out of his apartment, goes in the elevator, and this creepy fucking floating mummy, which would be, Moon Knight, basically.
Yeah.
Starts coming towards him, and yeah, it's pretty creepy. I liked it. I mean, it was cool.
Yeah. And then it turns out that, again, still just kind of in his head. I mean, obviously the spirit of Khonshu is still very real to the character, but he comes to, and it's an old lady like getting in the elevator.
Yeah.
And he's just like screaming and like cowering in the corner. He's like, "Oh, I must have dropped my contact lens." And she's like, "Well, hope you find it." Ding, 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 ding. Like trying to get out of the elevator as quickly as possible.
Yeah. She's like, "This is my friend's house. She's expecting me."
And then basically, as we get towards the end of the episode, we see Ethan Hawke has tracked down Stephen Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Tries to tip the scales to see if he can kill Stephen Grant, and the scales won't balance one way or the other. And that's where, as in the trailer, we get the line, "You have chaos inside of you."
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm still trying to read. I don't know much about this character.
I don't. Well, Ethan Hawke's character is like a new character. He's not directly from a single person from the comics.
Totally. Yeah, he definitely is from the comics.
Really? Everything that I read online was that Arthur Harrow was supposed to be like a...
No. Arthur Harrow was a selected candidate from a Nobel Prize in medicine thanks to his work in the field of pain theory, but a fellow doctor, Victoria Grail, became suspicious of his work. Harrow's papers showed he had carried... limited. Sorry, guys. I'm reading out loud now, but he is definitely from Ethan Hawke's Moon Knight character. Arthur Harrow is a character from Marvel Comics, and he's a doctor with a dark past. Arthur Harrow was a selected candidate for a Nobel Prize medicine thanks to his work in the field of pain theory. And there's a whole bunch here that I just haven't done enough. I should have done research on it before.
Yeah, because what I guess everything that I had read about who Ethan Hawke was playing, it was before his name was announced, I guess, or his character's name was announced, and everything that I had read was that it was an original character. So that's also on me for like being like, no, not real. But we do get to see, Arthur Harrow's like, okay, well, the scales don't tell me that I can kill you. So they sick, like, Egyptian god, demon, beast.
I think it's more like if you've seen like the Brendan Fraser mummy movies, it's like one of those like dog creatures.
That's very much what it is, but
they're like dumb.
Yeah, they're like the guards, the guardians of like the Egyptian gods. Kind of also like the demon dogs that we see in Ghostbusters Afterlife. Just they're a little bit more bony and scrawny and tall instead of like just oversized bulldogs. But it's still really cool because, it's chasing Stephen Grant through the Natural History Museum in London. In London.
You sound like you're from London.
Please, sir, I'm losing a lot of blood. And we get, again, from the trailer, the scene from the bathroom where we just get clips of it in the trailer where Moon Knight beats the living hell out of this dog-esque creature. Yeah. But we get to see...
Which we wanted to be... the early predictions were that it was a werewolf, which would tie in, Werewolf by Night and Blade and,
lead more into the Midnight Suns and stuff like that. I think we're going to get there, at least to some degree. But we also get to see Mark is now directly talking to Steven through the mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me have control. Like, I can save us. Give me control. Are you still learning more, Jake?
I'm trying. It's very vague. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. But we get to see the personalities interact. We get kind of like a flash scene of Moon Knight suiting up, I guess, as Stephen Grant gives control to Mark.
6 to midnight.
It was so good. Even though we don't get to see a full like suit, we start to see like the wraps come out of his shoulders, and then we do see him in full costume, but we don't like.
I was like, "What are you talking?"
We don't
about?
like see a full like suit manifest because then it like cuts to outside the bathroom. You hear like a fight. You see the dog get thrown out of the door and then dragged back in.
Yeah, and it's like trying to get away.
Yeah,
as he's like dragging it back in.
Up.
Yeah. And then he like beats the shit out of it, and you kind of just see him from behind. And he stands up, turns around, and you see it all like glowing eyes, everything. I literally was like boing.
Yeah, it was like boing yoing 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 yoing. Like it wasn't just like a quick thing. It was visceral. And
super good.
That's where it ends. There's no end credit scene. Just like every other Marvel Disney Plus show so far, we
will tell you when there's
an end credit scene. This one does not have one. Scenes.
There is not one.
Still incredible though. If you haven't and you listened this far, first off, that's on you. We warned you. Secondly, still go watch it because we did skip a lot.
I'm also very sorry that I was looking at my phone. I was trying to read more about Ethan Hawke's character.
It is what it is. We also, like we mentioned at the start of this segment, we had to pause for a day because of technical issues. So, like, we don't have the same groove going that we normally do. And I'm sorry for that. But you know what? Are you ready for this, Jake? With that being said... Oh, he is so focused on that phone.
I found something.
Okay, let's say that before we close out the episode. What did you find?
It says that he's trying... Obviously, we know this from the episode. He's trying to bring Amet back to Earth to enact a final judgment on humanity and to create a perfect world in her image of justice. He is like Thanos, a fanatic, but one not only driven by his own zealousy. What's zealousy mean? Like jealousy, but with a Z?
No, he's like a zealot, like a religious fanatic.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So, I promise I will read more about this character before we do our next episode. Because by next week, we'll have another episode.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely be talking about it, and I will know more about it, I promise. Sorry, guys.
Will too. We just didn't want to create a bunch of dead air of both of us reading.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to do that, but I was like, he got to it first. Fuck.
And I didn't plan on reading, but then like I was like, oh, I'll just read like a couple sentences and get like the cliff notes. And it was just like all this shit, and I was like, fuck. Oh, holy shit. Oh man, there's so much here. Like I didn't mean to like be silent this episode. Sorry guys.
No, it's fine. But let's go ahead and close out this episode. Yeah, Jake?
Yeah.
Cool. So guys, obviously we have our... Sorry, that was so rude of me how I did that. Fuck me, right? Mahalo. No, as you guys know, we have our web store. We have our... we have our Patreon page. Those are fantastic ways to support us. We are now much, much closer to our next live stream because, as we mentioned at the start of this episode, technically a day ago when we actually recorded it, but Jake and his girlfriend closed on their house, so then they'll be closer so that we can do some more fun live streams. So we're going to be doing the Hot Ones challenge with some vegan chicken nuggies. So message us on Instagram, Facebook, leave comments on YouTube, whatever makes the most sense to you. Ask us questions so that we can answer those while we burn the shit out of our mouths.
Yeah. Follow us. Tell your friends about us. We're pretty cool. We're okay. We like us.
That you could keep going backwards. We're supposed to go the other way. We're supposed to build up, bro.
But we love you guys. So
absolutely
check us out. And yeah. That being, fuck. That being said, do this one first.
I made you do it last week, so.
This has been the All Things Nerd podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.